to teeing off with RevSportz. It is the day after Christmas, meaning there's going to be a blockbuster, high-octane Boxing Day test match between India and South Africa. Joining me for this conversation and for this show are Boria Mujumdar and Debashish Sen. But of course, before we get to our discussion, we have to go to South Africa with Shubayan. Here's Shubayan for you all.
So time for Boxing Day test, India versus South Africa. India have never ever won a test series in South Africa. So there's a chance to script history for Rohit Sharma and his boys at the Super Sport Park here in Centurion. As you can see, the weather is not that great. It's raining and it's supposed to be like this throughout the day. So weather forecast is not that great, 80 to 90% chance of rain throughout the day, and we are likely to witness a washout in this on this first day of the Boxing Day test. There's only two test series, so that's a bit of a bummer for all the fans who have gathered around the Centurion to witness Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, the from the South African camp, the likes of Dean Elgar, Temba Bavuma, Aiden Markram, packed of both the teams are packed with superstars. So it's a bit of a bummer for both the fans of the both the sides to not witness the likes of Virat, Rohit, Bumrah, Jadeja, from Ngidi, Rabada in action on the very first day. But yes, the weather forecast will remain the same on the second day as well. 60 to 70% chances of rain, but there will be play in the remaining 3 days of this test match. Will it be sufficient? It remains to be seen. We have witnessed so many test match finishing in 2.5 days, three days. But both the sides, if they want to force a result, will have to play an attacking brand of cricket. Talking about the Indian camp, what will be the combination, the team combination, the playing 11. There's a face off between Mukesh Kumar and Prasidh Krishna for that third seamer slot. There's a face off between Shardul Thakur and Ravichandran Ashwin for that fifth seamers or spinner slot, fifth bowler slot. So let's see what happens, what sort of team combination Rohit Sharma and the Indian team management decide to pick. But yes, the weather, the rain gods, it's a bit of a bummer, and yeah, it is just not like it's like, if I have to use an idiom here, it's like painting black color in a very colorful wall. So yeah, that's it from my side for now. Back to studio for more updates regarding the match.
Thank you, Shubayan, for those updates. But we have to talk about Rohit Sharma because he gave a press conference yesterday and he obviously had to talk about that World Cup loss, right? And he said that it's, even if they win this particular series, it's not going to be a bandage on the World Cup loss wound. Talk about that.
Fair enough, because World Cup is a World Cup. I mean, it comes every 4 years, and it's the pinnacle of world cricket. And means obviously, people might argue that Test match is the pinnacle. But having said that, obviously, winning a World Cup means obviously it's something special. It's and given the way Indian team performed from the start of the tournament through to the final, means obviously that last hurdle they could not cross it. So the back of the mind that would always be around, means even if you win this series, this final frontier against South Africa, still it will be at the back. Means whoever has played, been part of that team, the 15 members, they would be the better person to tell, as was the case with Rohit. Is someone did ask him yesterday in the press conference that क्या वो क्या कहते हैं हिंदी में मलम पट्टी, तो ही सेड कि वो तो मैं कह नहीं सकता, क्योंकि देखिए जिस अंदाज से हम लोग खेला था वर्ल्ड कप लगा, हाँ थोड़ा बहुत, मतलब ये तो आप ही बोल सकते हैं कि वर्ल्ड कप इज वर्ल्ड कप.
I think it was, had it been a WTC final, it would have been a fair comparison because you're winning a world title. This is a bilateral series, huge series, but World Cup, multi-nation, different ball games. Had it been a WTC final, you're winning a coveted WTC ICC trophy, different.
But you've talked to a lot of cricketers over the years. Do losses like these change dynamics in the team?
Losses like these create fissures. They do. A happy dressing room, success has many fathers. Defeat is a problem. What happens is the unity with which you are playing, and then some people get left behind, the board gets into the act, and chopping and changing happens, and there could be a change in personnel. In this case, Rahul Dravid and the coaching staff had been given an extension. So they've tried to keep the flock together. But the moment when you lose a big big contest, a big competition, a huge match. Thereafter, all of these things happen. In this case, what I've seen, for example, the Rohit Sharma Virat Kohli camaraderie that I had seen in the World Cup, for me was refreshing. I thought that was the best example of Indian team unity. Whatever the Viratians and Rohitians might say, I thought there was no toxicity. And that was tremendous to see. That should be what India should, aspire to going into 2024. Look, if today someone comes and tells me that Rohit would be happy that Hardik has become captain, are you daft? I mean, these are all super champions with superhuman egos. So obviously you will have an ego. But I go back to Gary Kirsten, and that's my statement. Gary told me he was actually, 2011 World Cup, the day after India had beaten Pakistan, 7 a.m. in the morning in Mohali, and Gary was in his hotel, the restaurant, having fruit. And I went and said in a spontaneous this thing, I said, oh, what a team you've created. And with his fork, he was pricking some fruit, and he said, so you think all of them are friends? And I'm like, what? He said, look, each of them are super champions and they will have their differences. All we want is when the final catch goes up, whoever is under the ball should take that catch for India. That's all that matters.
Going back to the South African conditions, Rohit, in that press conference yesterday said that he looks at it as being the conditions being more favorable to the batters. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely, because the wicket in Super Sports Park, it does have a bounce and carry, and someone, every batter when he walks out in the middle, he will have those problems initially, means with the ball simming and swinging initially, but if you dig deep, if you stay on the middle, spend some time, spend considerable time, and once if the sun comes out, then it becomes easier to bat. And every batter, every stroke player in this side will enjoy batting in Super Sport Park. Yes, the bowlers, the fast bowlers will get some assistance as far as fast bounce and pace is concerned. But at the same time, if you stay in the middle, if you play out those initial few balls, say 15-20 runs, then you can go on to make a big score. KL Rahul, you ask someone like a KL Rahul, who scored a brilliant 100 in the last series. Sachin Tendulkar scored an incredible knock and scoring that 100, his 50th Test 100. So if you dig deep, I think among all the wickets in South Africa, century, yes, it does have bounce and carry, but at the same time, stroke players also find it easy to bat.
Again, I mean, in any part of the world, if you get a Test 100 in overseas Sena conditions, now that innings will perhaps rank above in World Cup innings. And that's for an individual perspective, okay? I mean, if Rohit Sharma gets 100 in South Africa, Virat Kohli gets a big ton in South Africa, goes on to win, it will mean the world. That's how it is. And yes, conditions will get easier. But you got to suss it in. You got to soak in the early pressure, the weather, the climate, the moisture, the bounce, the carry, the slips, the red ball, the pressure, the atmosphere, all of these things. That's test. T-E-S-T. It'll test you.
It's a test. But the Indian batting lineup has been in great form, looking at the World Cup performances as well. But who do you think in this particular test match will come out as the highest run scorer? Make a prediction.
You put me in a spot, but they obviously, having said that, you should put your money on the two great batters in the Indian side. It has to be Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma.
He's right. I mean, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, the obvious choices. I'll go a little this thing and say KL Rahul. KL Rahul as wicketkeeper. The ball is old. The shine is not there. India's got a good start. KL Rahul comes in at a time when you've got the conditions under control. Why not KL Rahul?
But talking about someone else who's made a lot of runs, the god of cricket, Sachin Tendulkar. He talked to Boria a while back, and this is Sachin Tendulkar talking about his favorite Boxing Day test memories.
This was a knock in 1999, and wicket had fair amount of bounce and juice in it, as we call it. The ball carried quite a bit, and it was a debut match of Brett Lee. Brett Lee bowled quick in that series, and he would actually warm up at like 145, 146, and then go on to bowl 150 plus. The ball was carrying. One had to obviously try and be there as much as possible and let the ball go initially. And then once the batter got used to it, then you could pick and choose the length and decide which are the areas to attack and which are the areas where you should let the ball go. I was able to do that. It was a rain-interrupted test match. I remember before the start of the play, it had rained and the pitch was damp. And Ajit Agarkar was bowling from one end, of course, with Srinath and Venkatesh Prasad being there. And Ajit Agarkar's ball, the way ball carried Srinath and Venkatesh Prasad, because of their height, they always got the ball to bounce. But when Ajit's ball took off, I realized that this pitch has got a lot of bounce, extra bounce. Mm-hmm. And of course, extra bounce also works in your favor if you're in a positive set of mind. Then you see scoring opportunities. It is all about shortening bowlers' good length area, and that happens on bouncy tracks. If the bowler falters marginally on shorter side, if a batter is able to get to good positions to attack on back foot, then it becomes a joy to bat on those surfaces. And that is actually what happened in Melbourne. I was feeling in great nick. It's all about the sound that you hear of the bat. That is confidence to me. It has that connect. And when you hit the ball, it hits in the middle, and the sound that it makes, when you hear that, you know that this is what I want to do and this is what I would continue doing. So when you may score runs, but if you don't hear the sound, back in your hotel room when you are sitting alone and thinking about your batting, that sound was missing. You may score literally 20-25 runs, and it happened to me in the normal outfield in India or anywhere else in the world. You wouldn't even look at the ball because it's a sure shot boundary. But here, Ricky Ponting started chasing the ball. In those days, the ball had to actually hit the concrete, as they call it in Australia, the gutter. And the ball actually had to hit the concrete to be called a boundary. Ponting, before got to the ball had actually stopped because the outfield was so heavy and it was slow. Ball had stopped few inches inside the boundary line. And then he had collected the ball and he literally had thrown the ball. That is when I started my fourth run. And I knew that I was comfortably going to make it because the boundary was so long. Ponting obviously has a very, very strong and accurate arm. But the boundary was so long. I knew, and I've never experienced anything like that. In India, if I had played that shot, I would be, the next thing I would be doing would be to look at the non-striker and say, okay, the next ball might be here and there, whatever our strategy. I wouldn't even look in that direction because I know that it's a short boundary. But those are the challenges that you face in certain parts of the world. The conditions change dramatically to what one is used to.
Rohit in that press conference also talked about or said, whatever is in front of me, I will look forward to play it. What does that mean to you?
Yes, it good news for Rohitians, obviously.
Indians.
Okay, Indians,
No other
Indians,
Ians here, please.
Obviously, that is a big statement. Obviously, it's an indication, clear indication that means whoever is speculating that Rohit will not play in that T20 World Cup in June next year, means fingers crossed. He's definitely eyeing that World Cup next year. Means obviously, and we want, as everyone, huge fans of Indian cricket, we want Rohit to lead that Indian team in the World Cup next year.
In the same form. Look, for me, and I'm trying to be dispassionate here, it's not about entitlement. You have to earn your spot. Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli doesn't mean they'll walk into the side. When you have a Yashasvi Jaiswal doing well, a Surya Kumar Yadav, Shubman Gill at the top, you've got Ruturaj Gaikwad. These guys are also claiming, staking a claim in that team. Having said that, the way Rohit Sharma went about his job in the World Cup, top notch.
Next level.
That's the start that India would need in the US. India would play maximum matches in the US. So if Rohit Sharma turns up in that avatar, but I would also want to see if he's playing or he wants to play, he should also try and play the Afghanistan series. Because those are the last T20s, international T20s ahead of the World Cup. Go play those. And by the way, 50 over cricket has no relevance for him anymore. 4 years later, he won't be around. So T20 and red ball, the brands Rohit Sharma. I mean, if you just play red ball, you're actually out of touch for a while because you don't play domestic cricket like that. So go play T20s. It'll be good for him for the IPL and then beyond. So in every sense, logic says he will want to play T20 cricket.
And if Rohit Sharma keeps his place in the 2024 World Cup, T20 World Cup, does he also keep his captaincy?
Obviously,
Yes.
if he's in
Yes.
the team, he should be made the captain. Means there's no any doubt about that. He has to be the captain.
Absolutely. I mean, he's taken you to a World Cup final.
Yeah.
He's won 10 games on the trot. His record speaks for itself. In this white ball version, you've given Rahul Dravid an extension. So simple logic. Rahul Dravid and the coaching staff an extension till the T20 World Cup at least. So why would you remove Rohit Sharma? For what? I mean, 10 matches on the trot, leading from the front, selfless cricket, fearless cricket. Give it to him. If he is there in your scheme of things, he has to be captain.
Absolutely, and we've made a very special package for Supersport Stadium because that's where Sachin Tendulkar also had his 50th century. In the dressing room, there's a Sachin Tendulkar jersey hanging in honor of him. So here's a little package for you all. Sachin Tendulkar, the god of cricket, is among the only two Indians who have scored a century at the Supersport Stadium. And it happened to be his 50th century. Since then, the Master Blaster has been honoured at the venue. On a historic December 19, 2010, Sachin Tendulkar, the legend, etched his name in cricket annals, securing a unique position as the first player to notch up an impressive 50 Test centuries. This extraordinary feat unfolded during the first Test against South Africa at the Supersport Park in Centurion. Despite being 37 years old at the time, Tendulkar not only achieved the 50th century milestone but also surpassed the 14,500 run mark in red ball cricket during this memorable game. Beyond the cricketing triumph, there was a poignant touch to his achievement as he dedicated the record-breaking performance to his father, who had departed in 1999. He was the first Indian to have scored a century at the venue back in 2010, and his 111th run century against South Africa finds a mention in the Centurion honour board. In the dressing room still hangs a Sachin Tendulkar number 10 jersey in tribute. The weather in South Africa is a bit, dicey over there. What does that mean for the Indian team?
Means obviously, if it stays like this, if the predictions, if it does rain and if weather plays a spoil sport for the first 2 days, then whoever the captain is, if the conditions are overcast, then they should win the toss and bowl first, because means that is the best chance of getting out the opposition for a low total, and which will means it will be a huge step forward in winning that test match. Means if you get the opposition out for a low score and then get a considerable, it means obviously you win a test match if you pick 20 wickets, and the best conditions will be to bowl fast in the overcast conditions.
See, in my book, the point is these stop-start days are very difficult. So you want to avoid such things, but you can't play for the weather. I mean, you've got to also play for the fans, the commercial element, the broadcast, all of this. So even if there's a small half an hour window, you've got to go out there and bat. Those tricky half an hour periods, you've played the sport, are very, very difficult, right? So it will test you to the core. Mm-hmm. And weather will play a part. From what I know, 60 to 80% chance of rain on day one, 40 to 60% chance of rain on day two. No practice yesterday, as in the session was called off, press conference was taken to the hotel. That's cricket. This is not another sport, and that's what has been part of cricket for the longest time. Moisture, conditions, and all of a sudden the team that gets to bat first, cloud, rain, and then the team comes sun, bright, beautiful. And it happens. It happened with us at Lords. We were shivering. We were shivering 2018. You remember, we got bowled out for 107. England comes out the next day, 25 degrees centigrade, 600 runs.
And what happened to World Test Championship final against New Zealand?
Correct.
Only the first few hours were overcast.
Yes, it was similar conditions, overcast, it was raining, delayed start, and all of a sudden we were in all sort of trouble.
Yeah, and if it is overcast,
See, whatever form a batter is in means yes, Yashasvi Jaiswal may have scored 100 in the series against West Indies, a debut 100. Shubman Gill maybe in the best of form, or a Rohit Sharma or a Virat Kohli or a KL Rahul. That initial half an hour for every batter when he walks out in the middle first, and if the conditions are overcast, and especially when you have someone like a Rabada or a Marco Jansen or the other fast bowlers, they will be tested. And the same applies to the South African batters as well. If they bat first with the red cherry in hand, Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj, they will be spitting fire.
and if it is overcast, Shardul or Ashwin, who finds place?
Possibly Shardul, because like Devashish was talking about in yesterday's show, but Rohit Sharma kept it pretty open because Ashwin again, I mean, I keep saying, what about the next 3 days? You're not playing test match for day one. You're not playing for 3 sessions. You're playing for 15 sessions. Suppose 60% of the day is washed out. You're playing half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. What about day 3, 4, 5? Will Ashwin come into the party? This is the mistake we did in the World Test Championship final. You saw overcast, you said, okay, 4 fast bowlers. And then you started saying, oh God, where is Ashwin? Don't make that mistake. Go in with a test match mindset, play with your best 5. That's for South Africa. I think Marco Jansen will be the real key for India, not Rabada. From that height, even the last series, Jansen is a better bowler now. Sachin Tendulkar actually once said to me that this guy in 3 years' time could be the best in the world. So from that height, getting the ball across, angle, coming in, careful about Marco Jansen.
And also Rohit did mention in the pre-match press conferences that he spoke about Ashwin and Jadeja. Both are decent batters. Yeah, and so both can be relied upon.
But he also said that the job will be to contain.
Absolutely.
Now that tells you that they'll get one. So that guy will contain while all of the others will go in for wickets. Yes, if you and he used the word, if you get 1 or 2 wickets. So he's not banking on them to be the same as in India. So it might be that they are, inclined towards playing one.
And before we go to Shubhayan in South Africa, I will need your predictions.
I think, come on, don't put me in a spot. How can I?
Okay, let me say
it's a test match, Gargi. It's a test match.
So India
favorites? I would say if whichever team wins toss first, and I think they will have an upper hand in winning the test match.
This is India's best chance. Let me say this bluntly. India has gone to South Africa since 1992-3. That South African bowling attack and that batting group later on, 96-97, then 98, and even in the 2000s, 2001 series, the Virendra Sehwag, Sachin Tendulkar series, 2005-6, Saurav Ganguly's comeback series, and even 2009-10, Sachin's last 146. This South African side looks to me, at least in the batting department, to be vulnerable. And India's got a better bowling attack.
Yeah.
It's not one Zahir Khan or one Srishant or one someone else, Srinath. This is an attack which is capable. Best chance.
And the best part of a 2-match series is that if you win this test match, you are not
then you're not losing.
Yeah.
Boss, take a leaf out of the women. Please take a leaf out of the women. For a change, look the other way round. Harmanpreet Kaur's India trounced Australia. Everyone thought Australia are unbeatable. They did it. Whether the spinners, Pooja Vastrakar, the way she bowled, whether Sneh Rana, Rajeshwari Gai, it was possible.
Yes.
Why can't the men take a leap out of the women and give us our best New Year gift?
Absolutely. I couldn't have ended it better. But that is it from us for this very show. We're going to leave you with Shubhayan Chakraborty in South Africa.
Big question that is going around from the fans of both the sides, from India, from South Africa, is what will be the playing 11 from both the sides. Talking about South Africa, they have a bit of a headache regarding the injuries of Lungi Ngidi and Kagiso Rabada, both superstar bowlers. They were excellent in the last time India toured here in South Africa in the 21-22 series. But yes, both the bowlers, both the pace bowlers trained pretty well in the build up to the Boxing Day test. So it is likely that both of them will feature in this test match, along with Gerald Coetza, who has been tipped as the next Dale Steyn. So watch out for him. Watch out for his express pace and bounce and the fearlessness he brings fearlessness he brings to the table. And along with it, I don't think Keshav Maharaj will get a spot in the playing 11 because he's carrying a niggle on his little finger. He was seen having a protective band on his little finger ahead of this Boxing Day test, and the weather conditions are such that you don't really need a spinner. Aiden Markram can give you 20 overs a day if need be. He's a good enough off spinner. So we are going to see Lungi Ngidi, Kagiso Rabada, Gerald Coetza, along with Vian Mulder, the all-rounder, and Marco Janssen, the all-rounder. So pretty good all throttle pace bowling attack. And if they decide that they want to bring in a spinner, a specialist spinner, then they can go on with Keshav Maharaj if he is fit enough. Otherwise, Aiden Markram is good enough to bowl, give you a good a few overs in this track, because Centurion is one of the bounciest tracks, and it just doesn't really spin that much, turn that much. So if on fourth day or fifth day you need a spinner, then Aiden Markram is good enough to give you a few overs if need be. For the Indian team, of course, it will be all eyes will be on Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi Jaiswal, the two openers, Shubman Gill at number 3, Virat Kohli at number 4, Shreyas Iyer at number 5, or KL Rahul at number 5, and Shreyas at 6. So that's a big batting lineup, and some of the players have been in great touch. We saw them in the ODI World Cup as well, but in South Africa it will be a new challenge for them, a different challenge for them, a different challenge for KL Rahul, the middle order batsman as well. How he fares, it remains to be seen. And then there is a Ravindra Jadeja who can give you ball, who can give you good batting down the order at number 7 as well. The face off is between Shardul Thakur and Ravichandran Ashwin for that fifth bowler's slot at / all-rounder, I would say. And then there's the two pacers in Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah. There's a face-off between Mukesh Kumar and Prasidh Krishna. If Indian team wants bounce and pace, then they will go with Prasidh Krishna. If they want control and swing, then they will go with Mukesh Kumar. So pretty straightforward team selection from both the sides. Yes, there's a bit of a headache when it comes to the Indian team management, whether to pick a specialist spinner or go with Shardul Thakur, or whether you want to go with a Mukesh Kumar or Prasidh Krishna. But yes, we'll get the playing 11s as soon as the toss happens, if it happens at all on the very first day. But stay tuned to RevSportz for all the updates. And yes,